Well, a little dose of reality for Fabien Galtier and his French squad out in New Zealand. They were crushed, 43-17. They obviously took the accusation of disrespect with the squad that they sent to New Zealand. They took that very personally, and that showed up in the first test performance where they ran New Zealand incredibly close and could have won against the odds. But uh, Fabien Galtier changed a lot of players for this one, and New Zealand had their reaction at 43-17. Please let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Did Fabien Galtier go too far? Was there a little bit of hubris kicking in with this one, or is this part of a bigger plan? What do you think's going on? Because having played so well in the first test and having got 5 players from the top 14 final from sort of not frontline players, but players nonetheless from UBB and Stade Toulousain. 5 players there, which went into the back line and really felt like it strengthened the back line. However, there were 7 changes from the starting pack, and they just got absolutely bullied, didn't they? What is Fabien Galtier going to do for Test 3? Was this a deliberate ploy? He was going to play the strongest pack he could in Test 1 with, some of the more fringe players in the back line or players playing not in the most familiar position. And then in Test 2, he was going to bring those guys back from the top 14 final in the back line and rotate the pack. And in Test 3, and I suspect this is what will happen, we'll kind of see the back line from Test 2 that we just saw with Leo Beret and back from injury, as well as Deportier and Barassi and co. Possibly Antoine Hastoy in the 10 jersey as well. I can come on to that. But is he going to play that back line with the forwards from Test 1? So it's kind of, this third test will be the real barometer of where this squad is. He'll have had a few weeks with them together. They'll have played a couple of games, and he can put the best 23 out there on the park. I think that might be what happens. I don't know that the result will be different. Hopefully the manner of it from a French perspective will be different. I guess the question is, did Galtier go too far with his chopping and changing? Because, as I say, the pack got bullied. Absolutely smoked this week. Barlow was the only player that remained from test number 1. I'll tell you what, I'll go through the players and give a little bit of a thought, and you can tell me yours. Baptiste Urdicio on debut, reasonable scrummaging, and that's actually one thing for the most part. Whoever's played, France have held the set piece generally. And yeah, fine. It was a kind of an okay performance on debut. Barlow looked really good in test 1. Not a good second test. The line out was an absolute mess. Scrum did okay for the most part, not exclusively. Line out was a right old mess. Georges-Henri Colombe, bit of an enigma, this fella. Like, physical attributes and his play around the park is exceptional. Scrum actually did all right. It gave away a couple of pens in the end, but it was even on the carry he was getting smashed. New Zealand really had a bit of edge in this game. Second row, you had Joshua Brennan. You had Halagahu as well. Brennan, it was kind of mixed bag. Defense was really good, but then he was a bit over enthusiastic when he got the yellow card for tipping beyond the horizontal. The carries were good and he got a try, but then the line out was not good, which is a launch play for a lot of France's attack. They were on the back foot for the most part. And Halagahu, he was one of the top tacklers. A lot of players had to do a lot of work in defence and didn't really get to show, I'd imagine, what they would want to do with the ball. And part of that was because, like I say, you take the line out away as a launch pad for attack, and that's a huge part of your game gone. And then you're not able to make enough dents when you are carrying the ball. And it was a long day for France. They did rally in the second half, to be fair. Bocheton, he came in for Fisher, who was absolutely exceptional last week. And to be fair, 18 tackles, I think it was, for Bocheton, one of the top tacklers. He got a steal there at the Jackal. He had a decent game in what was a poor performance. Van Tonder, who was absolutely brilliant with his impact off the bench last week, from the start this week, not as impactful. Yeah, a little bit anonymous at times. Again, when you look at Savia and Tupu Vai, who are absolutely tearing it up in the back row, maybe that explains that. And again, Esteban Abadi got out-muscled at number 8. And the New Zealand back row were more than a match for the French on this particular occasion. At halfback, bit of a mixed bag. Le Garrec was probably France's best player. And whenever they kind of attacked and looked good, it was through Le Garec, and things did improve when Hastoy came on at fly half. Joris Segond. So France, Antoine Dupont has come out and said he will not. He's unlikely to be available for the November Test series. So he'll be making a comeback right towards the end of the year, maybe in time for the Six Nations next year. And you kind of think, well, that's a shame, but no worries. Maxime Lucu, um, an embarrassment of scrum halves for France. They can more than cope. And Nolan Le Garec, definitely on that list. Moving to La Rochelle, and we'll be linking up with Antoine Hastoy, and the two of them look good together in that second half. Joris Segond, good kicking 10. Not convinced about the rest of the game. And, well, certainly that was a bit of an embarrassing tackle attempt on Ardi Savia. Went high, got fended off all too easily, swatted away when Savia scored that try. Elsewhere in the back line, Emilien Gaeton moved to the wing from centre, loads of defence, and he did that manfully and in the air, but never really got a chance to show what he was about. That goes for the whole back line, really. On the other wing, it was Teo Atasogbe, his teammate, not as effective as he was from fullback last week, and that's going to be an interesting one. Where does Atasogbe sit? What will his role be moving forward? Do you think it'll be a backup to BLBRA and Penaud? Fullback, I think probably Buros and Barre, and of course Ramos will be ahead of him. But I mean, he's clearly got a massively high ceiling as Teo Atasogbe. In the centre, I actually thought the guys did well. Barassi and Deportier in from the top 14 final. Barassi put in one absolutely giant shot, and most of what he did was defensively. And him and Deportier did really well as well. Loads and loads of tackles, and they kept Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor quiet. The holes appeared elsewhere, but through the middle of the park, I thought those two looked quite decent. Leo Barret at the back, massive boot, got himself a try, was solid under pressure, a relative positive in a generally poor performance. So I thought in the back line, Joris Segond was the most disappointing. Outside of that, I thought it was actually all right. The game was lost up front, wasn't it? But I think there is positivity looking forward to Test 3. I don't think France will win, but you get the right people on the park. Woki off the bench made a really big impact. Boogerit, his experience showed. Antoine Hastoy, like I say, improved things. Talfa Finua, a little bit of a disappointment. He bodged his try opportunity, but Dalbanya and Taillefer, meh kind of performances. Paul Malez, the one guy without experience on the bench, who actually put in another shift. And I tell you what, for someone who's been playing Pro de Deux all season, he looks the real deal, does Paul Malez. So I like the look of him. So I'm fully expecting France to be better than they were this week. I don't expect them to win, but I expect them to run New Zealand a little bit closer. They've just got to win that physical battle up front if they've got any chance. I will watch that one with interest, as well as the rest of the rugby. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm sure Joe will be along. Joe Worsley will be along with some got sort of tactical insights on the game, what he was seeing. Be very interested to see what he made of that back row battle, how it was that Tupuvai and Ardi Savia just managed to obliterate the France side, and what they can do to turn it around, more is the point, ahead of the weekend. So keep an eye out on the channel for that one. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one.